Hello and welcome to the Indian Classical Guitar Academy. My name is Jack Jennings and today we have a very special video for you. We've just released the Raag Bhairavi course and you're going to see part of the first chapter, so you'll find out all about that in a moment. But just to let you guys know first that due to its popularity, I've brought back this special offer for the whole of December, and that's 25% off the monthly fee of membership for the Academy. And with this you can access every course, every video, every live stream that we do. And if you'd like just to buy a one-off course, just one-time purchase, the Essential Techniques for Indian Guitar course is also going at 25% off, and that's for the whole month of December. So this is a good time to check it out if you want to really learn Indian classical music on the guitar. So that's it, promotion over. Now let's get stuck into this lesson. I know you guys are going to find this interesting. Hello and welcome to this special new course in Raag Bhairavi. The reason that this is a special course is that Raag Bhairavi is very, very special raga. It's unlike any other raga, or rag as you could say. And the reason for that is that you can combine all kinds of different notes, all kinds of different phrases. You can take aspects of different rags. You can combine all kinds of different phrases into this rag. It's like a sort of skeleton key that you can sort of almost do anything with it, but at the same time it has its core mood, it has its compositions, it has a melodic framework, but there is a lot of opportunity to expand and experiment, and it's just a fairly sort of open framework. So it's a very interesting rag, and it's often played at the end of a recital. It could be a short piece played at the end of a longer recital, just to mix up the mood and leave the audience with something sort of spellbinding but interesting and unpredictable. And different musicians are known for their own particular way of playing Raag Bhairavi and their own interpretation on how they can play with this rather sort of elastic format that it gives in terms of the melodicism. So first of all, it's based on what we would call in the West the Phrygian scale, and this is a scale that you often hear in flamenco music, but you even hear it in sort of heavy rock or metal music. But just the basic notes in key of D here, D Phrygian, those are the notes, and that corresponds with a Sa, Kormal Re, Kormal Ga, Ma, Pa, and then a Kormal Da, Kormal Ni, back to Sa. So the Re, Ga, Da, Ni, those four intervals that can be flattened, made into the Kormal note, all of those are flattened, and that gives it a much darker, mysterious sort of quality to it. You've still got the natural fourth and the natural fifth, and of course Sa is there, but apart from that all of the other notes are flattened. But that's just the starting point. I'll just go over those notes again, but just give it to you in intervals. So that would be a first, flat second, flat third, fourth, fifth, flat sixth, flat seven, and root. So as I said, that's just the starting point. The beauty of Raag Bhairavi is that you can start to add all of the different notes. All the 12 notes can have their place and be interwoven into this beginning sort of tonal landscape. So think about those notes. They are the foundation, they are the start and end point. But in between that, you can mix in all kinds of different notes, and you can even sort of quote or borrow phrases from different rags, and all kinds of different things you can do with this. So let's just try playing it also on the G string, just getting the sort of middle Sa to high Sa. and then we'll start to experiment and look at all different things we can do with this. So we've got the Sa at fret 7 there, and then we had that, there's the Cornwall Re at fret 8, Cornwall Ga at fret 10, and then Ma at fret 12, Pa at fret 14, and then you have the Cornwall Da, Cornwall Ni at 15 and 17, and then Sa at 19. So that's a Sa, Cornwall Re, Cornwall Ga, Ma, Pa, Cornwall Da, Cornwall Ni, Sa. And same on the way down. Sa, Ni, Da, Pa, Ma, Ga, Re, Sa. And the way that I often finger that, if you're playing it and you're sort of phrasing, then the index finger is going to be leading the progression. So for example, index and maybe hammering on and pulling off and sliding, or just index finger leading to the ring finger. So using the index finger just in combination with one or two other fingers. But if I was playing that all the way through as a complete scale, and later on in the scale practice demos you'll see, I'm beginning to favour more and more this combination of just playing the index, index, and then middle, little, depending on the scale spacing. This works for pretty much all of the septatonic scales, all the scales of 7 notes. Index, index, and then middle finger, little finger, and then switch to Pa with the index finger to start the next half of the scale. So you think of it as like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the second half of the scale 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the Pa, and slide to the Da with the index finger, and then Ni and Sa with the middle finger and little finger. So that gives you 2 symmetrical halves. And depending on the scale, you just change the fingering a bit. So if it was the major scale, you'd slide 2 notes and then use the ring finger, and then again slide 2 notes and use the ring finger. So a lot of the scales are symmetrical, like the Dorian. You have 2 symmetrical halves. Others, like Mixolydian, they've got slightly different arrangements in the first half using the ring finger, second half using the middle finger. So that system tends to work really, really well. And then on the way down as well. So if we go back to Bhairavi here, Sa, Re, Ga, Ma, Pa, Da, Ni, Sa. Going down, if you get used to this of playing Sa, Ni, Da, Pa, that's very straightforward. But then if you try to get used to this finger replacement technique, I sort of avoided this before because I wasn't sure how effective it would be at high speeds. But this idea of getting all the way back to the little finger at fret 12, so you play it exactly the same way up as you play the way down. So I'm surprised actually how, when I'm practiced and when I build that up, it actually works very, very well. Okay, so I would definitely advise trying that, even if you don't end up using it explicitly in your own playing. I mean, I don't necessarily play that if I'm improvising. If I'm improvising, I'll be playing more varied things. But even if you just practice like that, it really strengthens the little finger and it puts a lot more intelligence into that finger. So that's something that I would definitely work on, because I've been surprised in the long run it's actually proving to be a very powerful, fast way to get down the scale on one string if you ever need to. If you're going straight down the scale, I would usually just go to the D string. I pretty much always favour doing that because that is definitely easier. So just Sa, Ni, Da, Pa, and then get the little finger on 17 of the D string, just like we had. It's the same as this, just 2 frets higher, 12 frets higher. So going up is the same 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's a consistency to this with that shape and this shape and the 2-string system up there. So this way of basically doing 4 notes per string, or even if you're on 1 string, dividing it into 4-note units. I'm finding that to be very powerful and very effective. So we kind of went seemingly a bit off topic there, looking at different types of scale, but actually it's good to think about these different types of scale when you're playing this rag, because you can actually almost move into a different scale for a moment, or partially move into a different scale, and then return back to the original Raag Bhairavi notes. So that's something that can really open up different doors. So for example, if we just take a phrase from the composition that we're going to look at a bit later, the composition has this very characteristic feature of playing the ga, re, re, ga, so using, that's the shuddha re, or the natural second, which wasn't in the initial Raag Bhairavi Phrygian scale. And then back to the Cornwall re, the flattened second. So natural second, flat second. So you get this combination there of the second, natural second, and the flat second. And that's a really nice example, because you visit that note, and then you visit 1 or 2 other notes before going back to the initial Cornwall re that we have from the original scale. If you want to start one of these courses, you can buy them individually, or you can subscribe monthly to access all of them. For subscribers, there will be new content every month, including live streams where we can answer your personal questions and go into more detail about applying this material. So far we've covered Raag Yaman, Raag Bhageshri, Jog, Hamsadwani, Kafi, and Raag Narkons, and there's much more to come. This body of work is a culmination of the 18 years experience I have as a guitar teacher, combined with the knowledge acquired through studying the sitar directly, and then adapting that material using the guitar techniques that suit this style best. To create these courses and gather the most authentic material possible, I work closely with other Indian classical musicians such as Manish Pingle and Gurdane Riot. I'd like to give a special thanks to my guru Roopa Panesar, who has guided me in the creation of these courses. Much of the material has been adapted directly from my training with her. Also Shakir Khan, my guru, who's been inspiring me immensely and continues to shape how I approach the instrument and this incredible world of Indian classical music.